Gianni, our old pal Gianni's been in touch, Keith. He says if Danny Rohl loses the first Old Firm game next season, doesn't win the league, the daggers will be out again the Rangers way. I was thinking
100%, he's right. I hate to say this, but Gianni's actually finally made a good point.
I was thinking about this overnight, and I made the point on last night's hotline, Mick, that Celtic, it was basically a Celtic B team yesterday. You know, Engels, McGregor, Tierney, Schmeichel, Jota, Osman, Carter Vickers, all missing, and Rangers still couldn't get over the line at home.
Yeah. Listen, Gianni, let's question it this season first before we get to next season. We've got plenty of play for the next.
Very true.
Yeah, listen, there's two ways to see it, right? I mean, Celtic, this Rangers team couldn't get the better of Celtic at their worst over 2 weekends. I mean, blowing a 2-goal lead and losing out in 3 points that they needed in the league game and then going out the cup to probably the worst Celtic team for about 30 years, right? So I can understand why a lot of Rangers fans would be in the depths of despair. However, you could look at it and say that they're a last-minute penalty kick and a penalty kick shootout away from 2 wins, and it's a whole different picture. So that you could argue they're close. What the argument I think against that is that it comes down to bottle. If you do it twice and don't get over the line in these games, it's down to the kind of producing the goods when it matters, and Rangers haven't produced the goods when it mattered. I don't think Rangers played particularly well on Sunday. I thought I thought in the final third they're a bit pedestrian. They're plenty of the ball. I thought that the shape was good. The winning the ball, had the pitch was good. I thought they caused Celtic constant problems, but Celtic defended their box terrifically, and Rangers couldn't find a plan B to get the better of them. That's the problem I've got with Rangers right now. They're very one-dimensional. If that dimension doesn't work, they've got a problem.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me that Danny Rohl has got Rangers. We're talking about back in the 80s. He's got them playing a bit like a team from the 80s. If you're going to spend 45 million quid on a squad, I know we only spent about 20 of it in the January, but it seems a lot of money to be playing like Wimbledon 1987. So I need to see more from Rangers in terms of dynamism and ability to play around corners and unpick teams that play a low block, because they've struggled against it in recent weeks, and we've seen it, and it's cost them big time. They've dropped 4 draws in 6 games in the league, and they're now up against it in the title race and out at the Scottish Cup and facing the prospect of no trophies. But I do at the same time think they might not be far away. Rangers are a team. It's still a team that's in a work in progress, and it needs more work. I think the damage from last summer still hasn't been fully repaired, and it's going to take another couple of windows. Whether or not they get time, that's always the debate. Celtic, on the other hand, are hanging on with the skin in their teeth, a bit like Sunday. Somebody summed up their kind of season really, just getting through by hook or by crook, playing on sheer desire, relying on guys with experience to get the job done, and last gasp heroics. That's not a sustainable model for Celtic either. It might get them a trophy or two in the next few weeks, but that's the future. That's a whole new ball game where they go. Rangers, I think, are on a steady incline. There's been a few bumps. This has been a bad week for them, no doubt about it, and it throws up more questions than answers about the manager and the squad. But you could argue they're no far away. Celtic are getting away with it right now and doing what they can. And impressively so by not being disparaging at Celtic, because there is a certain admiration the way they're doing, what they've got, because that's not a Celtic team. Celtic offered nothing going forward on Sunday, nothing. Possession is always atrocious. I mean, some of the players that were on the pitch shouldn't have been near a Celtic jersey, and yet they still get done on sheer will. And you got to hand that to them as well.
Aye. And for them to come through, Mick, that 4-game run that we mentioned, 3 wins and a draw, is pretty remarkable. But we're getting lots of comments into that effect as well. The Blue Baron says Rangers had 24 shots, Celtic had 1. It was a freak result. Maka says let's not be mistaken here. Rangers bossed the game. It was a lucky win for Celtic, defended well, but one-sided as it gets. Marzuno says Martin O'Neill's put them out both cups and finished the league challenge. That's the facts. I mean, it is all about results, I guess, Keith. But I would counter what I said about Rangers failing to beat a Celtic B team with, as Mick said, I thought Celtic were pretty much defensive side awful. I mean, really, really dreadful.
I think they've been battered. Celtic have been battered over the course of both of these games, and yet found a way to survive. And that speaks to the sort of spirit and the character and the resolve and all the sort of words that you would use, that you would want to apply to your football team. If the chips are down, they just won't chunk. They will find a way to claw their way out of a situation. Mick's absolutely right in everything he says. When you look at them as football clubs right now, Rangers have fixed the foundations, but Celtic are crumbling from the top down. And that's the way it's been. The Americans have gone in, Andrew Kavanagh's gone in, he's taken a kind of blank canvas approach to trying to rebuild Rangers, and they will get there. And they have moved very quickly in the right direction. What happens between now and the end of the season, nobody knows yet. Danny Rohl could save himself if he can somehow, from a standing start, find some momentum and make an impact on what's the remainder of the league campaign. I think that's unlikely. I think that the two gut punches that they've just taken there will probably knock the wind out of their sails. And I'm not sure that Rangers have it within them now to recover from that and make a real tilt at the title and the games that remain. But Michael is absolutely right in what he says. If Danny Rohl survives and gets a shot next season, this is where Gianni's right. If he does, Rangers don't win the title, maybe come third, fourth, who knows. Danny Rohl will start next season right under the cosh, and a defeat in the first Old Firm game of that season could be really damaging for him. But it doesn't change the fact that Rangers have done most of the heavy lifting in terms of dismantling some of the mistakes that have been made in terms of the squad makeup, changing it, improving it in areas. Still some work to do, but quite a long part of the way down that road. Celtic, on the other hand, haven't begun the journey yet. And Martin O'Neill was just in charge for the time being. And as Mick says, it's all going to be determined by how Celtic handle that situation in the summer, because their need is going to be really great in the summer.